Hello, today I want to share with you my sewing plans. They divide into three main categories, and the first is comfortable vintage style clothes. I have beautiful true vintage dresses, many of which are quite fragile and I wouldn't like to wear on a day-to-day basis, and others that are sewn from true 30s rayon. I want to look after them. I don't want to do the dog walking in them or the housework. When I thought of practicality, I thought of two things: the hard wearingness of the clothes and comfort. Now, when I thought about comfort, I also thought about fit, specifically waistbands. I think a lot of us women have hormonal or medical issues, which means that our midriffs are inclined to swell from time to time, and there's not necessarily anything that we can do about this. If it's hormonal, if it's something like IBS, your stomach's kind of hard, isn't it? You can't squash it in with a girdle, and it wouldn't be very comfortable if you could. I wanted to sew clothes with adjustable or some kind of design over the tummy area that would allow for variations in size and always remain comfortable, even if you're going out for a meal. There's some clothes that I sewed from vintage patterns that I would say already fit this bill. These culottes and these very wide pants trousers, they don't have a waistband that cuts in. They've got shaped midsection. I've also seen designs by independent pattern designers, and they're often in very vintage styles. While I usually sew, as you know, with vintage sewing patterns because they fascinate me, I'm also interested in independent pattern designers now, many of whom are very vintage influenced but are thinking about those questions of how to make clothes more comfortable for women's figures and the issues that many of us have. I mean, if we didn't, stretchy lycra and elastic waistbands wouldn't be so popular, would they? In my future projects, I am going to be looking at the kind of clothes that you can wear really comfortably without feeling pinched in. True vintage 40s house dress, and I also have similar design 40s here. So house dresses, and I have a 1950s house dress that's coming up. These culottes. But I saw a wonderful idea for vintage style pants trousers from Linda at Daisy Creates Glam, who's allowed me to show her little video. And what I liked about her design was her little pockets, which are really cute and useful. And I liked the hem, which you do see in vintage designs as well, like this one. Why I thought it's so useful for anyone that walks, anyone that has a dog, is that if you are trailing through sand on the beach or mud, you don't want the hem trailing through the sand mud with you. Whereas this design there has the trim at the ankle, you can tuck those into your walking boots really easily, and I think they're really flattering and a really cute idea. And Linda was kind enough to tell me that she had adapted the design from a vintage sewing pattern like this. I also wanted to use comfortable fabrics, the kind of fabrics that you really like to put on and feel cozy in. I know it's summer, although in England you wouldn't necessarily know it's summer. Cotton is obviously hard wearing, easy to wash, easy to wear fabric, but not always warm enough for the English climate. So I also thought I would use Viyellas, which is a cotton and wool mix. Some gorgeous printed Viyellas from Liberty of London that I'm looking forward to using. And I really like a combination of blouse and pants or culottes. Everyone thinks I'm wearing a jumpsuit when I wear them, but it has all the things that I love about dresses. You don't have to spend ages putting different separates together. You have things that go together, and you can wear a little cute cardi over the top. And great for dog walking. To sum up, I'll be sewing and looking at all the ways that we can wear vintage every day and know that we're going to feel really comfortable. My second big category, I would put actually under a few different titles, all of which blend together. Make, do and mend upcycling and using fabric scraps. In fact, upcycling and using fabric scraps is really just the modern term for make, do and mend. So for this, I'm going to be looking at mending clothes that I have, or clothes that have fallen into disrepair, such as where dye's faded, or they're now too small for me, or they have holes, or the fabric's disintegrated, or they've got moth damage, all those kind of issues, and look at how those clothes can be rejuvenated and look beautiful and be wearable again. Also, because I live in an area where there is a lot of beautiful embroidered vintage linens around. Now, I have mixed feelings about cutting up vintage linens. I can't bear to cut up the really beautiful ones, but as we know, in the 1940s, they never stopped embroidering these linens. They're everywhere, and around Ghana, they're very, very cheap. So the less special ones, I mean, I have already done my window dressings at the front in them to stop people looking in as they were before, and I'll be using a combination of true vintage patterns like peasant blouses and some patterns by independent designers in vintage styles that are really imaginative and will go perfectly in a vintage wardrobe. So vintage linens, I've got a lot of very pretty vintage embroidered handkerchiefs as well. So handkerchief blouse perhaps. And of course, one of the other things with fabric scraps will be patchwork. So both repurposing damaged patchwork throws and also doing my own patchwork to create from scraps to create something from waste, really. So that will be an ongoing theme on the channel. The last one is not going to take you by surprise. It is my passion. 1930s dresses from true vintage 30s patterns sewn in true vintage 30s fabric using all the 30s vintage dressmaking techniques. I love them so much, and in fact I have planned a sort of capsule wardrobe. Not really a capsule wardrobe, just a whole massive amazing 30s dresses, but in a way it is, because I have grouped them according to colour, and I will be sewing kind of interchangeable outfits. I often run out of fabric, but I really want to be able to create little jackets and boleros that will go with my 30s dresses. And I hope also to be able to mingle some of my 30s with my comfortable vintage style. So for example, perhaps some cream linen wide leg 30s beach pyjamas or culottes with a 30s fabric puffy sleeve blouse, something like that would work really well. So those are my three main categories of sewing plans. But also want to do more collaborations. I think they're really fun, and to showcase the work of other sewists and creative people who are creating with knitting and crochet, because not everybody wants to make YouTube videos, do they? I mean, I don't sit down to video edit with unbridled joy. There are all kinds of creative people out there who are creating amazing things that you might not have seen. Collabs I have coming up will be 1940s pyjamas with a sewist I admire so much. Her work is perfection. Jess Story, whose work you will have seen in both my Bringing Alive 1930s and my Instagram is Wearing 40s videos. And I'm hoping to feature her work much more on my channel because it's amazing. And I will also be featuring somebody who does the most wonderful upcycling and creative use of old quilts and embroidered linens. Lovely lady, really creative, a real artist, Joan from Altered States. So I'll be showing her work too when I do my vintage linens. And looking now to the sewing from true vintage patterns, etc. Also be doing Haslam with the wonderful Lizzie from Killer Kitsch. So lots coming up. Actually, what I would love to do is have a viewers creations video. I don't know quite how I'll do it. Like maybe if any of you wanted to, you could DM me what you sew or knit or crochet over Instagram. I thought it would just be really fun to have a video on what all of you who kindly watch me, what you're all creating or what you're up to, if you would like. So that's a little idea. And of course, I will continue to do my magazine flip throughs. I've just seen a few. So my loft tidy up, there's quite a few. And I love those magazines, so there'll be plenty of those coming up too. Let me know what you think of my plans, and if there's anything I haven't mentioned that you would like to see. Next week I will be starting with one of those amazing 30s dresses. It will be the butterfly sleeve 30s dress, and I'm hoping, if my techno skills are up to it, to be able to do a free giveaway of the sleeve pattern. I don't really promise it in case I go through techno hell and it's just impossible, but that is the plan. So I'll see you next week with the butterfly sleeve dress. Thank you for watching and hope you all like my video. Bye.